Oh boy, I've got some truth for you. The only thing you need to become very rich, there's only one thing. Actually, every rich person in the world, in the history of the world, has only ever needed this one thing and used this one thing to become rich. It's so simple, it's so easy, but if you don't understand it, it could pass you by and you could never harness the power, you could never utilize it, and therefore missing out on being rich. But more importantly than being rich, having a purpose-led life and being um, connected with our soul purpose work and having a reason to live and being of service and having a fulfilling life. That's what we all really want more than money. Money is just a good byproduct of when we're in alignment and when we're doing the right thing, which is the only thing we ever need to do, which is the right thing we need to do. And I'm going to share with you what that is. And it's exactly what I've done. Over my life, I've had to work really hard to get into alignment. I've told lots of stories about my life, about how I've struggled financially, how I've worked to peel back the layers of the onion to get into alignment in my life. And I just have to say that alignment is really the key, the only thing I've ever strived for, because I've had success and it wasn't good enough. I've had money and it wasn't good enough. I've had to get into alignment with who I'm supposed to be, my authenticity, my commitment level to connect with people and to provide value and service. I'm a perpetual servant and student of the message of my alignment. I will speak about how important alignment is till the day I die. And through my perpetual servitude of alignment, I've learned one thing: the only thing you need to become very rich. I'm going to tell you what it is right now. You ready? You ready to hear what it is? The one thing to become rich? It'll make you rich. It will. If you do this, it'll make you rich. It doesn't matter who you are. You could have been working the same low paying job for the last 30 years. Hear me out. Take notes. Write this down. Write this down. The only thing you need to become very rich is to share your perspective, because sharing your perspective is honoring God's gift that was given to you. If you don't honor God's gift that was given to you, more won't come. God doesn't give us gold and like money and wealth. God gives us a different type of wealth, which is our perspective. That might be tied up and wrapped up in your shame and your guilt and your pain and your trauma. You might have been abused as a kid, and through that abuse, you've become so strong and so knowledgeable, right? But if you don't share your perspective, that strength and that beauty that was forged in the fire, forged under pressure, that beauty can't be seen. And therefore, you're not honoring the gift that was given to you. And therefore, you stop the flow of abundance and money in your life. And if you're someone who has never made more than $100,000 in a year, that's why. You've stopped the flow into your life because you're not sharing your perspective. Sharing your perspective is the only thing you need to do to become rich, to become fulfilled, to become happy, and to honor God's gift to you. Ultimately, freeing yourself from the prison of the trauma patterns and the shame and the guilt and turning it into the best thing that ever happened to you. In other words, we turn our shame and our struggles into our greatest triumph and our ability to serve others and make a difference and have physical wealth. The gold and the money come when we share our perspective. Now, number 2 on my list, write this down, because right beside sharing your perspective comes along with it something very dubious, something very dark, something very sinister, something that has stopped you and held you back your whole life, which is, write this down, the fraud complex. In order to share our perspective that God gave us, we have only one job to do, which is to overcome the fraud complex. The fraud complex is a mechanism of the ego. The ego wants to destroy us. The ego wants to kill us. The ego wants us to play small and be poor and destitute and complain our whole life. And if we let it, that's what will happen. So our only job to share our perspective is to overcome the fraud complex. The fraud complex says, I'm not good enough. Nobody cares what I have to say. My experience isn't valuable. I have nothing to share. My perspective is meaningless. And everyone, every single human alive, every single person, in fact, I can't wait to get to number 3 on my list because it's so powerful and valuable. But every single person who's ever become rich or wealthy or fulfilled or happy has overcome the fraud complex in one way or another. It's your only job. Overcome the fraud complex in order to glorify God's gift that was given to you, your perspective. Your perspective is like a diamond. A diamond has facets. Multiple facets shine brightly from different angles. And it's your job to uncover all the beautiful facets of the diamond of your life and talk about the shame and the pain and the beauty and the guilt and the picnic you once had with your mom when you were 5 years old and the stories that you can tell about your life. Those are the facets, okay? And you have to get over the fraud complex because there is no fraud complex. It's an illusion of the ego. All right, that leads me to number 3. Write this down. The only thing you need to become very rich is the understanding that sharing your perspective is the foundation of every business, from big business to small business, from a mom and pop shop, from the beauty product line that you love to me right now sharing my message about being a raw vegan. That's what I am, a raw vegan. I share the healing message of raw living foods. The foundation of every business is sharing your perspective. There's no exception. There never has been in the history of the world. If you want to have a business, you just have to share your perspective. We're so confused. We have to think that we need a lot of money to start a business, or that we have to go start a storefront on Main Street, USA, or that we have to learn something or be more qualified or educated, or we have to have a degree. Nope. You don't need any of that. The foundation of every business is sharing your perspective. So let me ask you this. Could you share your perspective right now? Is the fraud complex stopping you? Because it's not qualification that's stopping you. You don't need to have more qualifications or experience or health or healing. You don't need to be more beautiful. You don't need to lose the weight to share your perspective. In fact, God gave you your perspective for a reason, because your unique facet of the diamond is valuable. And so by sharing your perspective, you open up the possibility of real business, soul purpose aligned business. And that leads me to number 4, soul purpose aligned spiritual business. That's actually the highest value we can bring to the world. And when we learn to share our perspective and we get over the fraud complex, we open up the possibility of our soul purpose aligned business, which is just so incredible and enjoyable. And that's what I do. I've peeled back the layers of the onion over the years of getting into alignment with my life. And I started with delivering newspapers when I was a kid. And then I started my first business when I was 24 and I did photography. And then I started my first really successful business, which was costume clothing. And then I started my coaching business, helping people detox and go raw vegan. And through the alignment, I have made more and more and more money, not because I pursue money, but because I've pursued alignment. And now I pay it forward. In 2024, I generated $850,000 with my raw vegan coaching business, running a membership. My membership is Raw Vegan Heroes. I recommend everybody start with a membership. I teach people how to get into alignment with their soul purpose business, and money is a byproduct of that. I highly recommend you get some business mentorship and apprenticeship with me. I've opened up my business mastermind program for people to join, which is 6 months of business mentorship with me. I call it my business mastermind. It's not just for business, it's for exploring mindset, exploring leadership principles, exploring our authenticity, and most of all, exploring our perspective. If I could sum it up in one nutshell, my business mastermind helps people learn how to share their perspective, opening the doorway to everything meaningful in life God's divine purpose for you. So, working with me in my business mastermind is a weekly Zoom meeting, okay? When you join, you get a weekly Zoom meeting with me. I don't give you courses or downloads to follow. It's not an automated course, it's one on one private mentorship with me. We do a weekly Zoom meeting on Fridays at 3 p.m. Central Time. Meet with me on Zoom, and I will give you the next steps in your life. I'll show you the path to do it, of how to do it, how to practice. I give homework assignments, I give next steps. I will lead you step by step. Joining my business mastermind is just the first step. I recommend the first 6 months, you just learn, okay? Just absorb. Spend 2 years with me, and I will get you to 6 figures a year with a sole purpose aligned business, hands down, without question. There's just no question. I've done it myself multiple times, over and over in my life. I know how to help you do it. I love helping people do it. It's actually the most fulfilling thing for me. And as part of my soul purpose alignment, to speak about the power of having wealth through alignment, having wealth through our perspective, through our divine birthright. This is part of my path and how I help people. Joining my business mastermind is a really good investment. It's $2,997 for 6 months. Okay. And it's the best dollar you could possibly spend. Investing in mentorship is the only way to spend your money. If you are earning money with a job, you can't pay bills with that. You got to use your earned income to invest. Invest it in mentorship and leverage that income into the 2.0 upgrade. You got to do it, okay? I mean, I teach people how to invest, how to make money from assets, the whole picture of total freedom. You can't spend your money on bills. You got to invest in mentorship. It's the best way to spend your dollar, guaranteed, hands down. Now, look, I'm going to leave the link to my business mastermind below. Click on it, read what's included. If you have a question for me, send me a text message. Connect with me. You can send me an email. I go out of my way to connect with people every single day. There's 150 people in my business mastermind right now. I've got many private clients. I've got about probably 20 private clients I work with on their businesses. I'm fully immersed in people's lives. I go out of my way to connect with people. This is my life's work. This is what I do. If you need help, let me help you. I can really help you. But I can only help those who help themselves. So reach out to me, let me know where you're at and what you need, and I will help you. Okay? I hope this was helpful. The only thing you need to become very rich. Mark my words. I hope you took notes. You can always rewatch this video. It's profound and it's true. Bye. I'll see you in the next one.